Bird of paradise. That was there from back in the day. Way back. A lot of this here, that's the morning glory. Oh shit. There we go. I sprayed a bunch of it around there, and I probably should continue spraying all this. We're supposed to have, well, the capital is supposed to have a 30%, 20% chance of rain, but it's been sort of good around here. And aside from the wind, it's probably not a bad time to do a bit of weed spraying. I'm sort of, it's not that there's nothing to do, I'm just running out of things on the list, and the only thing really on the list to do is cut down more box thorns down the paddock and start pushing and shoving them. And when you're pushing and shoving furniture all day, you don't really feel like coming back and pushing and shoving friggin' big piles of prickles with rakes and shovels and shit. So anyway, if this wind isn't too bad and I'm not working tomorrow, I probably should crack onto all this with the weed spray. It really does get slammed very hard when you spray it with the weed spray. Because I mean, this stuff, this whole area, all old bricks from the old chimney and all that, right around to the box thorns there, that was all covered in bloody morning glory. You know, give it a bit of a spray and it's pretty much all gone. I think there's a little fleck of it right there against the chicken wire where I've got the other plum trees in here. And that plum tree there is one, and this one here is another one. And I probably should try and put guards around this one and that one when all this crap gets dragged out. Give these a bit of a chance too. I've got a guard that I should put on a she-oak around the other side too. I don't know. I think the damn guard must have blown away, but it's just about big enough for a big guard. Yeah. Just keep finding bits of bloody wire all the time. Anyway. You can probably hear all the wind in the trees. It's not so bad down here behind all the box thorn, but it does make a hell of a racket. I've got to get those out, but hang on. We'll be coming into wind now in a second. I'll just get those other two I just pointed at, but I've been filling up trailer number 3 with firewood. There's a guy at work who, as I was saying about his mate, goes and makes little newspaper bricks, and I think, bloody hell. So that guy might end up with all this crap here. Failing that, I'll just take it up to the other guy up the road. It's this ain't too bad, a lot of this stuff. Bit of this is actually green, regardless of the big crack. A lot of this end piece is actually green. And a lot of what I got around there, I've still got to bring around is sort of, you know, she's going a little bit rotten and a bit sort of question mark, as to if everybody else would want it, which they probably wouldn't with the rot in it. But a lot of what I got around the other side is actually, yeah, it's decent sized stuff. It's like this big. A lot of it's actually trunks of trees that obviously died when they're only about 15 years old or 20 years old or something like that. But they're big like this, but they're sort of in, you know, a condition much like sort of some of this where you got a bit of rot sort of starting to come through. So I've got to go and bring those around here and dump them here. And then I've got to get inside, and there's a bunch of small stuff that I still have inside that I sort of threw out temporarily, but it's, although it's on the stone wall, it's sort of covered by other branches and box thorns and stuff. So I'm going to sort of throw that out in the same place that I had all the other stuff leaning, so I can actually get to it and bring it around here. And it's likely to go on that as well. It's, by hell, this wind is roaring. Here's my little pile of random rubbish. There's a few more, and I should get up near that box thorn. Any of the real rotten stuff I've been throwing against the box thorn and I probably will have a go at trying to pull that one out against the fence there and dump it there. I'm sort of almost questioning the other ones here, the two cypress pines on the other side of the driveway, if I shouldn't rip out all the box thorn there. That's the same ones I burned a big patch out of. But it's a nice little hidey spot to throw things, and the sheep don't seem to even take any interest in really sheltering under it at the moment, but it's a good spot to sort of put stuff to keep it out of sight, so I might not bother with all that. I think honestly there'll be so much in fighting all this stuff here that I won't even need it, won't even get to dealing with other box thorns other than ones around the house. When it comes to pulling out stuff. Anyway, I suppose I'd better continue on. Still the grass waving away in the wind. If I had all these in big covers, I'd chuck one of the sheep in here and let them eat all this stuff. Yeah, there they are out there anyway.
Alrighty. I sort of had a bit of a sore throat the last couple of days. Even when I was loading all that last load of wood onto the trailer there, I sort of, yeah, it was a little bit cooler than I should have been out in, and I thought, I should wear a jacket, and for some reason I thought, no, don't wear a jacket, you'll get, what's his name on the jacket? Sap on the jacket, on the coat. So I thought, no, I won't wear my coat for some strange reason, although there's no chance of even getting sap on it. Anyway, could have wore a jumper. I didn't bother wearing one of those either, and it was a little bit too cool to be out there with nothing on. Gonna get a beanie. I got two of them, and couldn't find either of them. So I was out there, just as is, in a shirt, and yeah. Then yesterday I went down, I didn't show this, but used the old Roby Zippo, and flattened the battery on that, so then I changed over to the Makita one. Went down to where all those pines are out on the edge of the hill there, and there's ones I'd cut down that I was going to sort of put in the bonfire, but there's some that were pretty flaming good. I mean, some were like, whew, almost as thick as my leg, you know. And I thought, well, some of these probably should be kept. So then I started trimming off the little sticks off the side of them and got the heavier ones that were worth keeping and chucked them in a pile. And I was going to go down there later and put all the little ones and the scraps in a heap and make a bonfire heap. Fortunately, I did wear a coat going down there, and I put the little hood up and everything, and yeah, that made a fair bit of a difference, but still, it wasn't a great idea being out in the wind anyway. And then I sort of got bored and thought, I've got to get out of this place. I've been sitting around here for days on end, you know, I've been here for days on end just playing around with firewood. And so I went for a drive down to a river reasonably far away, and I was aware at that point that the sore throat was turning into a cold. That was sort of yesterday afternoon, and now I wake up this morning and oh yeah, I'm coughing shit up all over the place, and I have a fucking headache, and as you can tell, my voice is going to shit, and so I've just been sleeping quite a bit. It's actually 11:15 and I'm just getting out of bed, and I'll probably go back to bed because it's not so great. I've been drinking these here. They're basically reconstituted lemon juice, but it's like drinking straight lemon juice. This is no lemonade. This is actually a flavouring that they use, made from lemon juice that in most cases has been boiled down and often imported from elsewhere. Doesn't bloody say where, but sometimes it can even be here. We got a lot of apple juice that way from Brazil. We don't need any more apple juice. We produce enough of our own. And anyway, what they do with reconstituted juice is they boil it down into a syrup and then bring it over in IBCs, basically, and then add water to bring it back to it, and that's sort of what's happened with this stuff. But it's like drinking straight lemon juice, and it's sort of used, it's actually in the sauces section, because it's used for, you know, flavour and things that say, use a certain amount of lemon juice, blah, 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 if you can't find lemons because they're not in season at the time, you know, to make lemon meringue pie or whatever you want to do. They seem very good at getting rid of colds in the past, and I'll probably drink 2 of those. They're about a litre. By the time you drink 2 of them, they're 500 mils each. I've got another one still sitting down there. I often used to whack a bit in my tea. I'd have, you know, standard sort of British tea, and just squirt a bit in, and it'd be sort of a lemon flavoured tea. And I used to do that for quite a long time there. A lot of these things that sort of go on them, and then I sort of have it so often that you get sick of it and you go off it again for a few months, and then you go back on it again. You know, it's just sort of like a lot of things. You can sort of things that you may like, you can overdo. And yeah, anyway, I don't have a great deal of fresh vegetables, but I do have a bunch of frozen spinach, so I might be getting into my own frozen spinach later on tonight. I've been getting quite a few of those cheap salads and everything still. Even got some snow peas that I froze for a while there too, and ate all the snow peas last night. Fucking love snow peas. Some onions, got some carrots in the fridge, so as long as you keep up with a bit of fresh fruit, food and all that, I should be alright. I burnt through most of the things I've got that are supposed to be used for cold related stuff and sore throats and all that. I do have a bunch of Lemsip and Strepsils and stuff up here, I think. Yeah, that's gone. All the light globes I got. Stacks of extra. They're on the LED light globes. Just usually I'll put on my little, what's his name, section. I think I'll scan everything out. Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's it for anything that's, I've got a bunch of painkillers sitting down in the bottom section, which I'll probably have some of those, and some antihistamines, which I don't really need. That's the way to go. I even get blooming bandages on the cheap. Big packet of assorted bandages. They're actually the top brand name ones. Some goose opened the fucking packet, and of course an employee saw it in the supermarket and just take the bottom back up again and dropped it by a few dollars. And yeah, I've been using those for the last 6 months. Still got a ton left. It's funny the amount of things that I buy that are being discounted, you know, and if you find that a shop, and I often do, even the real cheapo dollar store places and stuff like that, they have a bargain basement section for stuff that didn't sell, stuff that people have pissed around with, like Of course, you always get some goose that opens up a shampoo and squeezes it, trying to smell it, and then squirts a bunch down the side and says shit, closes it, puts it back on the shelf, and might be a bit sticky on the side, but all of a sudden the shampoo's gone from bloody $4 to $1.50, you know, stuff like that. And another one that's often in these bargain basement bins, particularly for the cheapo dollar store style places, I notice is deodorant. Shit, they always seem to have a lot of deodorant. I even saw one that didn't have a price on it, and I was thinking of getting it, and I thought, oh, do you really need it? And I always thought of this idea. High visibility vest, orange one, with LED lights on it. No joke. Big string of about 20 LEDs, and a little box for your batteries down below. I think they took AA, which is like UM3 batteries. Just your standard run-of-the-mill ones that I use for my LED lantern. Took 2 of those sort of thing. And yeah, anyway, I better get on eating, waffling again.
Alrighty. Well, these seem to be coming far too quick and not very big size, as you can tell. I decided as a last measure to try and give them a bit of liquid fertiliser. I think realistically, all along, I should have been giving them a lot of fertiliser. You know, sometimes you read things like, don't fertilise plants in the winter, but they're talking about plum trees and things like that. Yeah, these, while they're close to size, it would have been nice if they come a month later, because then they would have realistically been the right size. But the reason that they're this size is probably just purely I just didn't fertilise them enough. I mean, they used to fertilise with liquid fertiliser in the nursery quite a lot more, and yeah, one of those things, you know, I was too worried about fertiliser burn and then didn't fertilise them enough. I probably should have used dynamic lifter, which is like a thing that's made up of a mixture of seaweed, shook shit, what's the other one? Carp, as in the fish, minced up, which is a common fertiliser over here, and something else. But anyway, they're pellets you get, and I should have probably got those pellets and thrown them on, because you can't burn them with that because it's a natural fertiliser. It's damn near impossible to burn it with that. But instead, you know, I put on a little bit of pellet fertiliser, like a bit of, you know, normal chemical fertiliser. And then, you know, didn't put enough on because I was worried that I might burn it if I put too much on, and then it just wasn't enough to really get them as big as they should be. And if I had of, these heads would have been a decent size. That one, as you can tell, it's separating apart. It's going to be picked soon. You know, and these, while it's a nice looking head, the bastard should be a hell of a lot bigger. And I've seen cases at my parents' place where they come up and the heads are small, and then you give it 3 or 4 days and the heads go from being like this, and 4 days later they're fucking, you know, they're 8 inches wide. Literally 8 inches wide. And yeah, the Siberian kale is not as big as it could be. I have grown it here in the ground before I was even on YouTube, and the thing honestly was about bloody 4 times the size of that, out of the same seed packet, mind you. So yeah, one of these things I probably just should have fertilised more, or failing that, used the natural pellet stuff made out of chook shit and fish and all that, or just put them straight in the soil. Some of these I've already nipped the tops off. I've actually eaten a few of these already, as you can tell there. This is not just standardised broccoli, but it's becoming standardised. It's sprouting broccoli, where what will happen is you'll get your main one there, and then if you look down lower, pretty much you have a little one coming out. I don't know if you can see this very well. Let's see if I can come inside on. See the tiny little leaves right where the main leaf goes in? There's a little broccoli head in each one of those. So every leaf that comes off the main stalk, right in the, well, there's a good example, right in the base of that leaf, there'll be another little broccoli head. Basically, every single main leaf that comes off, bang, shoots out a little broccoli head that comes out in between the stalk of that leaf and the main stalk on its own tiny little stalk. And there's another one there. And it's called sprouting broccoli, and it's becoming one of the most common ones that they used to have to go looking for it, and now they have it at every hardware store. It's almost like, when I went there, this was actually the only broccoli they had was the sprouting broccoli when I went to buy it, so this one's terribly behind schedule. But yeah, a lot of these little sprouting bits need to be picked because they're going to turn into yellow flowers if I don't hurry up, especially that one. But anyway, the spinach has given me a good run. She's looking a bit ragged now, but that's one thing I can grow very well in pots, and I probably should have a red hot go growing, like literally, 1 or 200 next year, down in that area that I fenced off. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's a pretty good head for the size of the rest of the plant, actually. But yeah, they all seem to be firing pretty much the same time. One of them got snapped off, so I ate that one. That was a Siberian kale. And this one looks like it's got eaten. And unfortunately, a lot of this spinach is just put in too late. So that's one thing I'll have to keep a note of, is putting in the spinach nice and early. Because the stuff that did is brilliant, and I got a decent harvest off it. These are sort of put in midway through. But I've fertilised these. These are in the sunniest position, sitting up here. And yet it still don't look like we're going to make much of a go of it. Maybe they'll have a bit of a shot in spring, but when it gets too hot, they all bolt. So, but yeah, as I was saying, I've harvested some of these quite well, and I could rip them out and make a go of the rest of it. That's a nice one there. That'll be getting close to being picked before long. That one, most of these have already been picked. I think I picked that one a little bit for this pot. Fortunately, you can't see it, much of it's under shadow, but there's decent leaves on that. As you can see, yeah, picked a bunch off of that too. That one there, no picking before long. And one thing I should really show you is this spinach beet as well. It's strange looking shit. Looks like a pale looking blooming silver beet that is trying to be a spinach but is still technically a silver beet. Yeah, and that pot that I pulled 1 or 2 out of, it's had a whole bunch come up. There's one there, and then I think we've got a little one here, over the corner there and up there as well. So that looks, I don't know what that thing is. Looks like there's about 4 there, but at least that's one. Oh yeah, there's another one behind it too. But yeah, that's the one that I had one come up and I pulled it out, but I think I've whacked a bunch of seeds in that one. Seems to be throwing quite a few up there. But anyway, that's what we're at the moment. The cat's having a poop by the looks, I won't show you that. And yeah, I made a lot of these. I don't know if I said that. I made a lot of the stinging nettle. Sick of the damn stuff. And I also made all this about a week or so back. I'm not joking, like literally. It's about a week ago I made it, and look at the friggin' length of it. Look, it's come up another bloody 4 inches taller. Maybe even more, maybe nearly 5 inches. Same with this shit, I slammed the hell out of this. Bang, so the grass has grown at a phenomenal rate. And it's trying to rain too at the moment. Just dripping. So anyway, yeah. I cut another couple of branches around there. I've got to get rid of. I've still got the ladder out there against that tree. I don't think you see it, but I can see it myself sitting there. That was the last few branches that were a little bit too low for the tractor, so. And I was going to go spraying a bit of box thorn with I got another weed sprayer, one of these. I only got to do a small amount. I don't want to have to fuck around with the other battery-powered one. You know, it's a chance the pump in that'll need bloody cleaning a lot of bullshit. So I got a little $10 wonder, which I've just put a bit of water in out there. But yeah, had a bit of a breeze before, and now it's trying to rain, so it's probably not the best day to spray. But hopefully I can do that tomorrow, or whatever. Oh yes. All the stuff sitting under those trees, I created a pile there that's firewood-worthy stuff, and then I had another pile started stacking up, and I thought, stuff it, I could probably light this up. So I lit it up, and I started a bonfire, and I was literally throwing stuff into it. I stacked a bit of stuff on for about 10 minutes, then lit it up, and then kept throwing the rest in. So all the loose stuff that's anything bigger than about probably that thick, all got burnt in the bonfire. And then it rained later in the day, and I just checked it 5 minutes ago, and the whole lot flipping burnt, which is quite surprising. And yeah, I may have to carry some of the what's his name, firewood-worthy stuff from down there up here, or something. Not that I could really be bothered, but not that there's a real shortage, but I probably should go and stick it around the other side. I've still got the trailer around there. With a bunch of firewood in it. I haven't talked to the guy at work yet about his mate who's using the bloody newspaper bricks, but yeah, that's still around the side, along with a bit of stuff that I got out from around the pines around the house, so I might as well go and I basically got all the stuff that was off that rock wall in front of these cypress pines and stacked it around there, so I might as well get the stuff that's down there and throw it on that same stack. And yeah, anyways, I don't think it's going to rain too seriously, so I might as well go and start doing that.